What's your name?
I'm a tie. I'm a tea.
You're so cute.
I'm gonna take the picture right there.
Who is that boy? Oh! Yummy on my new camera.
I'm on camera.
Hello again. I am about to tell you guys what Williams syndrome is. If you watched our previous video, you know that Brittany made a video on what LCA is. So today I'm here to explain Williams syndrome, which is what Tyler has. He was diagnosed almost 4 years ago. Williams syndrome is a rare genetic condition that is present at birth. It is 26 to 28 deletions, gene deletions on chromosome 7. It is spontaneous. There's 1 in 10,000. So for every 10,000 people, one person is diagnosed with Williams syndrome. There's about 20 to 30 in the US, and we are just that lucky that we have Tyler. Most people with Williams syndrome have very similar facial features: a small upturned nose, a wide mouth, full lips, a small chin, puffy eyes, and a starburst pattern around their iris. Most of the people with the starburst pattern have light eyes, so green or blue. Our Tyler has blue eyes. My husband and I both have dark eyes. So it was very shocking for us when his eyes didn't change to dark, because we just never thought that we would have a blue-eyed baby. They're the most beautiful eyes that I've ever seen. I'll insert a picture of the starburst pattern that he has. But they do have very similar features, everyone with Williams. They tend to have low birth weight. Just to give you an idea, our oldest son Jay was born 6 weeks early. He was 7 pounds 8 ounces. He was premature. Avery, our daughter, was born at 39 weeks and she was 9 pounds 5 ounces. Tyler was born full term and he was 6 pounds 8 ounces. So he was tiny. He was so small. Looking, you know, at the time we didn't know anything. We just thought that he was, you know, gonna be our smallest baby, our little peanut. And looking back, that was just one of the signs that we contributed to Williams once we got our diagnosis. Most of them are diagnosed with failure to thrive. They tend to be on the smaller end. They actually have their own growth chart because they do tend to be a lot smaller than the average children. Even into adulthood, they tend to be smaller as well. They don't really ever catch up to you know, their adult peers. I'm gonna go into, I'm gonna try to keep this as basic and simple as I can. Williams syndrome is such a complex syndrome. It affects so many parts of their bodies. So I'm going to try to keep it brief, because later on down the road, I do want to get into, you know, a whole separate video for cardio, a whole separate video for the kidneys, for the low muscle, for all these things that I'm going to be telling you about. Now, just a disclaimer, I am not a doctor. I am just a mother who's done a lot of research. All of this info that I am putting out there is just information that I have found, that I have spoke with numerous doctors about. Every Williams syndrome person diagnosed with Williams syndrome is not the same. There is a variety. Some might have all of these characteristics. Some might have 1 or 2, 3, 4. I mean, it's such a wide variety of symptoms and parts of the condition. One of the main deletions in their sequence of deleted genes is the elastin gene. 95 to 99% of those with Williams have this elastin gene that is deleted. This elastin is a protein that gives connective tissue its elastic or stretchy properties, almost like a rubber band. We all have it, unless you have Williams syndrome, but this deletion in the elasticity causes narrowing, in which produces supravalvular aortic stenosis or narrowing in pulmonary artery. It also can cause narrowing in the arteries from the kidneys as well. So this elastin gene is very important for the genetic makeup of a lot of our very important arteries to carry and supply blood through our bodies. So the arteries are less elastic, which causes them to constrict, and that's where the narrowing comes in. Tyler was diagnosed with supravalvular aortic stenosis, and that is the narrowing in the aorta. He did have it repaired. Most children will need to have that repaired at some point. We monitored for a long time, and we kind of knew it was coming. It actually happened very quickly for us, but that again will be a whole separate video. Most people with Williams syndrome do have life-threatening cardiac issue. It's very, very common. I know when we went to genetics, that's one thing. When they did his echo, they told us, you know, he has supravalvular aortic stenosis. It's that narrowing in the aorta, and it's very common in that specific area for a genetic condition called Williams syndrome. And that's how our journey started, and that's how all of these dominoes kind of fell after that echo, after that first echo with Tyler. So on top of the cardiac issues, they have kidney issues. Again, there could be narrowing because of that, the deletion in the elastin gene, and that's called renal artery stenosis. Narrowing of the arteries going to the kidneys. They can also have very high blood calcium. This high blood calcium can cause crystals to deposit in the kidneys, and that can lead to kidney stones. Nobody wants kidney stones. I've never had one, heard it's terrible. So for Tyler, we pump him with tons of fluids. We flush his kidneys. He drinks water from the second he wakes up until he goes to bed. He is finally potty trained, but because he does drink so much water up until the point of bedtime, we do diaper him at night. He wears or pull up. But it's way more important for us to just continue to flush his kidneys so that he doesn't develop kidney stones. So on top of the high blood calcium, which is actually called hypercalcemia, for whatever reason, they have no connection with Williams syndrome and why they have high blood calcium, but it can cause extreme irritability, colic-like symptoms when they're younger, which Tyler definitely had. Just another one of those you know, signs that after we got our diagnosis, we were like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. That, you know, that's just one more thing that we could check off, that maybe there was a bigger picture. The high blood calcium can cause excess thirst, frequent urination, muscle weakness, confusion. So in order to maintain the blood calcium levels, we have Tyler on a low calcium and vitamin D diet. It's getting a little bit better as he's getting older. He can have a little bit more and more of it. His levels have been pretty steady. I mean, he's always been within normal. They've just been on the normal higher end, his levels. And I mean, we contribute it to just flushing his kidneys with fluids, with water, and just kind of maintaining a certain level of calcium that he's getting in his diet. He loves cheese, he loves milk, so it's very hard. He is also very picky, so that can make it difficult as well, but it's working for him, thank goodness. I know that I do have some other Williams syndrome families who have children whose calcium levels can become too high where they actually have to be hospitalized. Dental abnormalities are another issue that Williams syndrome people can have. Tyler has very small spaced out teeth. They are still his baby teeth. He hasn't lost any yet, but that is common in kids and adults with Williams syndrome, for their teeth to be a little bit smaller and have spacing. They also have bite issues. This is something that an orthodontist can check out later, you know, once all their adult teeth are in. It's not, to me, it's one of the lesser issues. I know that they can have some extra decay. So we, personally, we try to get Tyler in for an extra cleaning a year. Our dentist has been phenomenal, and she will let us know when she feels like, yeah, we think that he should come in for an extra one. But because we know this, we take a little bit extra care of Tyler's teeth, just because we know that he is at risk for some issues in there. Sensitive hearing. Tyler hates the landscapers. If you have been following us, you know that it's the worst day of the week for us. It has gotten better as he's gotten older. When he hears it, he says, they're cutting the grass, they're cutting the grass. Prior, he would just be paralyzed. He would sit, he would cry, he would scream, he would hold on to us. He would not want anything to do with being in the house. They have very sensitive hearing, and it's not so much an issue with their hearing. It's more of the connectivity part from their brain. It's actually painful to them to hear certain pitches, to hear certain noises. It's deliberating for Tyler. Like I said, he has gotten a lot better, but I will say that if he knows where the noise is coming from, he knows what it is, he knows, okay, the landscapers are coming, they're gonna cut the grass, they're not gonna be here later, they won't be back tomorrow, he does much better. Those with Williams syndrome have connective tissue abnormalities, and this can cause hernias, a hoarse voice, feeding issues, difficulty sucking and swallowing, which is something that we did notice when Tyler was a lot younger, when he was a baby. I tried to breastfeed, he could not get it. I tried for weeks and weeks, and he just did much better with a bottle. He has always kind of had issues with feeding. He gags very easily. I mean, even if we're eating, he does not like spaghetti. If we eat spaghetti and he just looks at it, he will make himself gag almost to the point that he throws up. It's just, I'm not sure why they have that those connective tissue abnormalities, but he doesn't have very good gag reflex. He did have a hernia when he was about 8 weeks old. Another one of those checks that we can look back. When he was 8 weeks old, he had a hernia in his groin. We took him to a general surgeon, and he said, I think he might have one on the other side of his groin as well. So we signed the paper that said once he was in there, if he did, he could go ahead and fix both of them. Little did we know how common that was in kids, or you know, people with Williams syndrome. Those with Williams syndrome have low muscle tone. Tyler has been in PT since he was 8 months old, and that kind of dominoes into developmental delays as well, which I'll get into. But on top of the low muscle tone, they can have joint stiffness as they get older, and getting into physical therapy just helps with muscle tone strength and joint range of motion. The only thing that's going to do is just build their strength and make them a little bit stronger to be able to just continue to build that muscle, that low tone. It's probably something that he'll always have, but again, just building that strength to help him in the long run. If you know Tyler, if you've personally met him, or if you've watched videos of him, you know that he is very, very happy. He's very friendly. He loves everybody. He has a very endearing personality, and that goes for the majority of those with Williams syndrome. They have very good strength in their expressive language. They are not afraid of strangers, which is cute, and it's a good thing when they're little, but as they get older, they have a very hard time holding relationships. They don't have that sense of stranger danger. They don't know who to kind of stay away from, and that can be very scary. It makes them vulnerable. Most of them have a greater interest in adults when they're younger instead of their peers. They would much rather be with the older crowd than, you know, the younger or kids around their age, and I know that that's the truth with Tyler. The kids can all be playing in one room, and Tyler wants to be with us. He wants to see what we're doing. He wants to talk to us. He craves for that attention from adults, and he loves it. I mean, he's just always with us. Now, because of the low muscle tone, they don't hit their milestones on track. I think Tyler was 8 months old, and he kept doing this thing where he would get up on all fours and he would almost plank, and I kept telling Jordan, he's gonna crawl, he's gonna crawl, he's gonna crawl. And I mean, 6 months went by and he still wasn't crawling, and he was already in PT at this point, but I felt like it was coming and it just wasn't. It was taking so long. He didn't take his first steps, I want to say, until he was 2.5. You know, all kids catch up, all kids do it on their own time, but it was so difficult for us as parents to watch him work so hard, to try so hard, and it just wasn't happening for him. On top of the developmental delays, they also have mild to severe learning disabilities. He is going into his 2nd year of preschool. He is in a special ed class. He does have an IEP, and this is something that he probably will carry with him his entire school career. They also tend to have cognitive challenges as well. Distractibility is very common with Tyler. It's probably one of our hardest challenges, aside from any medical issues, is just getting him to stay focused on a task, getting him to finish a puzzle, to stay focused for 5 minutes. You know, and that's a long time for any kid, but he's so focused on what's going on over there, who's talking over there, who's gonna walk by, what background noise is going. I mean, he has to sit, he has to have nothing going on in the background, and even so, he will find ways. He will have a conversation with you, he'll talk his way out of doing the task. If he doesn't want to do it, he does not want to do it. So put you know, the distractibility on top of that, it can make it very difficult for him to just really stay focused. And that is one of my concerns with him going into school full-time as he gets a little bit older, is just him being able to sit in a classroom, to focus on the teacher, to not talk to his peers, and to get everything that he needs out of being in a classroom setting and learning. But I do hear that the distractibility most likely gets better with age. I think that the more that you talk to them, the more that they understand. A lot of reminders to stay focused, to listen to the teacher, to listen to your parents, to listen to adult. I mean, just a lot of, you know, redirection from adults is really a lot of what Tyler gets right now. They do have, I know this sounds like it's just a list of negative things, I guess, that come along with Williams syndrome. They do have a lot of great strengths. I know that their speech is delayed, but once they are caught up on their speech, I hear in the research that I've done is that they have an amazing broad range of vocab. They can hold a very intelligent conversation. Their long-term memory is amazing. Tyler, even now at 4 years old, he remembers everything that we say to him, everything that we tell him. He does not let us forget. And their social skills are so, I mean, Tyler, for sure, that's one of his #1 strengths, is just being able to adapt in any kind of social setting that he's in. We do not have to worry. I mean, he has had therapist after therapist after therapist, and especially being military, moving around and getting new doctors and new teachers and new friends, he can adapt in any social situation that we have put him in. He has never been scared. He's never cried out for us. He's always been able to make friends, and he says hi to everybody, and he just craves that interaction with others so much. That's just in his genetic makeup, is that craving to just be socially accepted as well. They love music. I'm not sure where that connection is, and they tend to be very, very good at piano, guitar, drums. I mean, I can't wait to put him into something. He loves music now. When we want to calm him, my husband will just put, he likes Queen. He'll put Queen on his phone for Tyler, and he will just, I mean, he's so happy. He just watches it. He wants the next one. He doesn't want him to turn it off. So yeah, that love of music is something that we want to, you know, take advantage of for him. So that is a gist of kind of what Williams syndrome is, what comes along with it. Again, what I'm talking about is just our personal experience with Tyler, with his journey specifically. I'll link some websites below if you are curious with, you know, more info on Williams syndrome. The Williams Syndrome Association page is amazing. They have a ton of information on all the different characteristics of Williams syndrome, everything that comes along with it. We have met a lot of great people, a lot of amazing family through the association. And honestly, that's one of my #1 resources that I took advantage of when we got diagnosed. And I don't know where I would be without the info that I got from them. It sounds very scary. Trust me, it was when we first got diagnosed, which you'll hear, I'm sure I will do a video on our diagnosis story at some point. It was really difficult for us, and I wish that I could go back 4 years ago and tell myself today, I wish I could tell myself 4 years ago how things were gonna be, how amazing this journey was gonna be with Tyler. Yes, we've had very, very scary moments, medical wise, future wise, wondering how he was gonna be, how he was going to adapt. But I cannot tell you that all of that was worth who we have today, who is part of our family. He has made us such better people. He has made our family a better family dynamic altogether. We are so lucky. We're so blessed to have Tyler in our lives. He has changed us for the better. I talked about how overly friendly they can tend to be, how they love everybody, how happy they are all the time. How lucky are we that we get to be surrounded by that every single day for the rest of our lives? I wish you could all experience that. He's amazing, and I cannot wait for you guys to get to know him the way that we know him, to love him the way that we love him, and just to raise awareness, to put this out there. We had no idea what Williams syndrome was prior to diagnosis, and I feel like if I was educated on this prior, I mean, we could have never known that we were going to have, you know, that 1 in 10,000 chance. But if I had come across it before, if I was educated, if even I heard about it, I feel like I would have been a little bit more prepared for this journey. And that's what we hope that we're doing on this channel, is preparing the next family, to let them know that it's going to be okay, that you're lucky, it's amazing, it's hard, but it's so rewarding at the same time. And I don't want to get all emotional because I'm sure that video is going to come too. We are just really excited for this journey. We're excited to raise awareness and to let you get to know Tyler and Cora. But we have a lot of fun things planned. We're excited to bring you guys along, even with all the nerves, all the nerves that come along with it. But yeah, stay tuned for our next video. We're gonna do a Q&A, so if you have any questions, please let us know. Nothing is off limits. We are open. We want to know what you guys want to know about us. So thanks for watching, and we will see you in our next video.